And for my personal friends watching this, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So Alvin was my best friend back in grade 6. I recently moved to a new school like 2 months into the year, and coincidentally, this other kid, Alvin, also moved in around the same time I did. We got put into the same classroom, but I guess no one told them because there weren't enough desks to accommodate the 2 new students. So for their temporary solution, they made us share one desk. It was kinda awkward at first, but we became close friends pretty quick since we were both the newbies, and also since we literally sat inches apart from each other. What I wish I realized sooner at the time was that Alvin was a total douche. I mean, we shared common interests like anime, video games, and whatever, but Alvin, he had problems. He had a really sick and perverted sense of humor for his age, he had this chronic thirst for stealing, and he was uncomfortably really touchy-feely without realizing it. There was one time we had to do a project and needed to work in pairs. The assignment was to build a bridge structure out of pasta. Luckily for me, I didn't have to work with Alvin on this project. Unluckily for my friend Marco, who was Alvin's partner, hot glue was involved in the construction of this bridge. So on the day of submission, we all got to class with our bridges, and I see Marco with his arm bandaged. We're all like, dude, what happened? Worst part of it was that after it happened, all Alvin did was give Marco a band-aid, which was like 1/4 the size of the actual burn. And now Marco has a scar on his arm to remind him not to be around Alvin when hot glue is in the vicinity. Alvin was a straight-up thief. One time when Yu-Gi-Oh was like the biggest fad in my school, one of my friends reported to us that he lost his Blue Eyes White Dragon, and for a kid, that was like losing $1,000. A couple of days later, Alvin invited me to hang out at his house. And what do I spot on a shelf in his living room? The Bude. And I knew Alvin was not an avid Yu-Gi-Oh player, and if he was, this dragon would be safely tucked away in a deck and not casually chillin' beside a potted plant. Oh hey, you have a Blue Eyes? Oh, I've had that for a while now, he said. No you didn't. During our friendship, Alvin discovered my knack for art and saw that I drew pretty often and kept all of my drawings in a folder in my desk. He had shown repeated interest in said drawings and often asked to see them. One day in grade 7, in which we were in the same class again, some of my drawings went missing. There were really only a few suspects, but Alvin was the main one. On a later day, we had PE, and afterwards I noticed someone was missing in the change room. When the rest of us made our way back to the classroom, guess who was already there? And once I sat back down on my desk, guess what of more I was missing? I knew it was him. All of the clues pointed to him. I never found those drawings again, but every bone in my skeletal system believed it was him. I slowly stopped hanging around Alvin. He just seemed like a bad kid, let alone a bad friend. There was one time he got into an argument with another kid and coughed on his pizza like a scumbag. The kid told on him and Alvin cried like a baby. The following year in grade 8, Alvin and I, along with the majority of our friends, got separated because they built a new school nearby to accommodate the growing population in the area. Alvin stayed behind at St. Barbara because he lived across the boundary line, while my other friends and I moved to St. Veronica. We had 1 year of solace away from Alvin because the high school we were going to the following year, St. Marcellinus, brought together students from several elementary schools, 2 of which were St. Veronica and St. Barbara. Yep.